You have probably already watched the Disney movie Mulan, but even though we'll probably never know if this woman really existed, we know that her story has been told during the Wei dynasty, from 386 to 557 AD. There are many different versions of this tale, and this is why we are going to tell you all about them. Make sure you watch the whole video to know how the story ended. If you love Mulan as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you the messed up origins of Mulan. The beginning. Her story has been told for centuries, and this is what makes Mulan one of the most legendary women of ancient China. But how did it all start? You probably remember the Disney movie in which Mulan's family expected her to become a good housewife for her future husband. Unfortunately, she didn't pass the test with the matchmaker, and everyone was disappointed. This was when she realized that she had better things to do. But in the original ballad, Mulan was simply washing clothes when she heard that the army was recruiting new soldiers, one man from every family. Her father was too old to survive the war, so she decided to take his place. In another version of the tale, she saw on posters that the Khan was calling troops, and she saw her father's name on the list. As he didn't have any grown-up sons, she wanted to serve in the army in her father's place. No matter what, in both cases, her family knew that she was planning to do this, and then had nothing against this idea. There was nothing wrong with a young woman going to war, and they probably already knew that this is where she belonged. The war. In the Disney movie, Mulan was not better than anyone else when she decided to go to war. She was really unskilled with weapons and had to learn how to be a man. But she had more ambition than any other, and this is when she trained harder to achieve her goals. But in the original tale, the young woman really knew what she was doing. In one version of the tale, her father thought that women should know how to fight too, and this is why she was said to have practiced with different weapons. The war hero was known for practicing martial arts, such as kung fu, and was also skilled with a sword. In another tale, she even had the chance to go to war with a sword, inherited from the ancestors of the family. In another version of the Ballad of Mulan, she simply bought a horse, a saddle, a bridle, and a long whip, and decided to leave her family for a couple of years. Oh, and as you can guess, there was no small dragon or funny cricket to help her in the original story. But you'll have to stay tuned to know for how many years she was part of the army and what happened at the end. The love story. If you watched the Disney movie based on Mulan, you probably know that she fell in love with the army captain, Li Shang. In the second movie, they got married and were directed by the emperor to escort his 3 daughters to a neighboring kingdom where they could get married. But was this actually part of the original tale? It's in only one version of this story that we can hear about him. It is believed that during the war, Mulan met an officer named Jin Yong and fell in love with him. However, things were a little complicated as everyone believed that she was a man and Young was only interested in marrying a woman. But after a couple of years on the battlefield, Mulan was promoted to general and people learned that she was actually a woman. We'll talk about that gender reveal shortly after. This was when Young became more attached to her. They both started dreaming about getting married to each other. However, we don't know if they ever tied the knot in any of these stories. We have to admit that we think that Mulan's story is even better when she doesn't need a man. We prefer the version where she has no one in her heart and no one in her mind, but would be ready to do anything for only one man, her father. You don't need a prince to be a Disney princess. The gender reveal. In the Disney movie, pretending to be a man to join the army was punishable by death. However, Shang spared her life, and she was expelled from the army until she found another way to help them. But how did people react to this gender reveal in the original tale? In the love story, Jin Yong quickly found out that Mulan was a woman and simply became more attached to her and dreamed about marrying her. This is why we can guess that her gender was not a problem for him. But other soldiers also started to find out that Mulan was actually a woman. This was why, one day, before a difficult battle, their general decided to go onto the battlefield in women's clothes. She didn't want to hide her true identity anymore. The soldiers were not shocked. Actually, they really respected and admired her for her bravery. They couldn't believe that one of the best members of the army was actually a woman, and this is what inspired them to win another battle. In other versions of this tale, Mulan simply wore her old-time clothes when she came back home, and her soldiers were inspired to find out that she was a woman. We think that the Disney movie would have been more inspiring if soldiers didn't care about Mulan's gender, but only cared about how good she was. The ending. In the Disney movie, Mulan was praised by the emperor and the inhabitants of the city after saving China. She then declined his offer to become his advisor and asked to return to her family to present the gifts to her father. Most of the original tales are similar, but some of them are more tragic than others. In the Ballad of Mulan, the war hero actually fought for 12 years in the army and even became a general. She was offered many gifts, but the only thing she wanted was a horse. She took off her wartime gown and put on her old-time clothes. This is when some soldiers came to see her and realized that she was actually a woman. But in another version of this tale, Mulan returned home only to find out that her father had passed away. She didn't feel like a hero, but only thought that she lost the love of her life and was haunted by her experiences on the battlefield. This is how her life ended tragically. So which tale do you prefer? The Disney movie or the original story? Don't be shy to answer in the comments section down below. We'd love to hear what you think. And that's it for the messed up origins of Mulan. For more stories like this, make sure you watch The Messed Up Origins of The Little Mermaid. Thanks for watching and see you next time.